Hi everyone, George here, um, and I want to bring to you today another how-to video based on a question that a viewer asked. So Snapshot 83 said, could you do a video on how to fill the T2125 form for mined cryptocurrency? Um, so if you have a T2125, it means that you are in the business of mining cryptocurrency, and you do that basically for a living, and you're not doing it for a hobby. So on that subject, there's a couple of important things that we need to mention right off the bat. You need to understand what is the type of platform that you have. You may I've done some research on the net, and I've seen that you can even mine crypto with a Raspberry Pi, which is a small computer, very cheap in terms of price, but in terms of functionality, you can do wonders with it. It shouldn't be bigger than this notepad. Um, and savvy users have been able to mine cryptocurrency off a Raspberry Pi. Um, Other users or other people have managed to convert part of their home uh, into a crypto mining base. However, I find that problematic because of the amount of heat this process uh, produces and the amount of air conditioning that you need to keep everything uh, cool and the amount of energy that it draws. Based on what I've heard, haven't been interested in that type of work myself. And other people have gone out and looked for a location. Business is all about location, location, location. Rented out office space or an area, and basically they set up their rigs there. And other people have gone as far as going abroad, and given the specific uh, needs for the energy, they even negotiate with foreign government as to how they can get the energy that they need. Now, why is this important? Is that it is important to distinguish between hobby and uh, an activity that is done for a profit, or you're seeking profit. If it is an activity that is more or less you're curious, you're a hobbyist, you're taking a Raspberry Pi, you're fiddling with it, then that activity falls under a hobby or personal activity, and it that is taxed as personal property more or less, and you're not allowed to claim any losses, and you would only be claiming gains over $1,000, so it's capital gains. But if this is your hardcore activity, your primary uh, motivation to get profit, then you have to fill out a T2125. Having said that, I want to remind everybody the two disclaimers, as a matter of fact. One, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a lawyer. Uh, this is not tax advice. It is just tax knowledge. I'm sharing my tax knowledge with you. And the second caveat that I want to mention is that with cryptocurrency and crypto mining, this activity is so brand new. Well, to most of us, or most people that are involved with it, it isn't new. And I've since found out that cryptocurrency and blockchain has been taught at university level courses since 2010, but it's still a relatively new activity vis-a-vis the government, vis-a-vis the finance department, vis-a-vis the CRA and Revenue Quebec. So in doing some research here, there were some guidance that I was able to find, and there was some guidance that I'm still not able to find. Um, and I've also inadvertently stumbled upon complete nonsense, but I won't mention the nonsense here because I want to keep my video positive and not be a coward. All right. So, with that out of the way, um, keep in mind that in order for your activity to be taxable, to be able to claim any income and losses, it has to be your principal activity where you have knowledge and you are out to make a profit, um, and not a hobby. Now, The other things that we need to keep in mind is how would you classify this activity? Because every business activity, whether you're a carpenter, a physician, or a lawyer, has what we call a NAICS or NICE, and that is the North American Industry Classification System. And basically, what that classifies is your type of business activity that you're performing. It doesn't necessarily um, specify the product, but it is specific to your profession or to your business skill and that you're performing for uh, compensation. So I found two NAIC codes, one off the CRA site and one off of Reddit. The one off of Reddit is 518210, and it's called Data Processing, Hosting, and Related Services. And I'm looking in that direction because my monitor is there. And the best place to put my photo is on the right side. And the other one that I found is just by scrolling down the list of night codes that are in UFile is 212398, which is pretty interesting. It's called All Other Non-Metallic Mineral Mining and Quarry. Seems to fit. Now, which one is best suited for crypto mining? My suggestion to you is write or call the CRA. Now, type of crypto being mined. You can, I suppose, I haven't done it myself, I haven't thought of it, but I've done some research on it, of course. You can be mining Bitcoin, you can be mining Ethereum, it can be Litecoin, there's Milcoin, Dogecoin. There's a lot of cryptocurrencies out there. Why is that problematic? Um, it's problematic because you cannot declare crypto in what it is worth in crypto. There is a conversion to be done to fiat currency or the Canadian dollar, because everything that needs to go on a Canadian return has to be converted to Canadian dollars. So if you mine 2 or 3 Bitcoin, you have to get the fair market value off of a reliable source. Now, if we're dealing with regular currency, I don't like to call it fiat currency, but it is fiat, regular government issued currency that's recognized by the CRA as such. You can go to the CRA or actually the Bank of Canada or ANDA and get the fair market value of, let's say, US dollars to Canadian. And most sources that are available out there, like the Bank of Canada rates, they're accepted by the CRA. I am not sure what the CRA or Revenue Quebec, for that matter, would accept as a reliable source to gauge the fair market value various um, of various coins out there. Well, Bitcoin is pretty much straightforward. You can go to Google and find the fair market value. Is that acceptable to the CRA? I'm not sure. Who do you find out? Go to the source. You can write to their you can write to the CRA. There's a special department that my mind escapes it, but you can write to them and ask them for commentary and get it in writing. Um, so we talked about acceptable exchange. However, it's problematic to talk about exchange because the CRA does not consider Bitcoin to be currency, considers it to be a commodity. So the other question is, how do you deal with stacking? And if I understand stacking correctly, is you basically deposit your cryptocurrency and you get a percentage. It sounds almost like interest income, if it is. The other question is airdrops, where somebody drops coins at you for free, no additional cost. And question is, what do you do with that then? And it's basically you acquire it at zero cost. Now, the distinction between capital gains and business income, I spoke about it in depth in the previous video. And the other thing that you need to account for is what assets you need to perform this operation and these assets should fit into uh, a class, a depreciation class, okay, where you can claim depreciation at a prescribed rate. I found two classes, class 45, but note the acquisition date of the classes may make the asset eligible for that class or disqualify it. I will provide a link where you can consult the list of different asset classes, and you can find the best one that fits the assets that you acquired. I found two classes that are pretty pertinent. Class 45, which has to do with electronic data processing equipment, depreciable at 45%, provided you acquired them after March 22nd, 2004, and before March 19th, 2007. And Class 50, which I believe deals with software depreciable at a declining balance method at the rate of 55%, provided they were acquired after March 18th, 2007. Okay. Now, when do you recognize that income? I found an internal CRA commentary analysis with respect to Bitcoin, and it's stipulated. It's internal interpretation 219-077 661I7. The number of the beast is there. So, in the CRA's view, Bitcoin received by a miner to validate transactions is consideration for services rendered by the miner. Where a taxpayer is in the business of Bitcoin mining, the Bitcoin received must be included in the taxpayer's income at the time it is earned. So that makes it under Section 3 and Section 9 of the Income Tax Act. That makes it relatively easy for us to establish the amount of income you need to report. And you're reporting it on an accrual basis, not on a cash basis. So the moment you earn that Bitcoin, get the exchange rate, and see how much that Bitcoin was worth, that's your income. And I'm using Bitcoin as an example because I want to keep it simple. Uh, of course, if you're mining different currencies, that makes the operation more complex in terms of that you need to do that research to find out how much that coin was worth the instant, or that token was worth the instant it was earned, the instant that was mined. Interesting. So, with that said, the next step that I would suggest that you do is you need some sort of an accounting software. The simplest one that I could use and demonstrate is Excel. So this is what I've done. I'll make it a little bit larger so everybody can see. Now I've done just uh, a uh, partial spreadsheet. I haven't gone and completed it from end to end, just to demonstrate an example of what you could possibly do. So down here I have the tabs for the different months of the year, from January to December. That is, if you have a fiscal year that ends with the calendar year. And basically these are dates. January 1st, January 2nd. For some reason or another, I didn't earn anything January 1st. And for the purposes of this example, I went up to January 7th, which happens to be a birthday of for a lot of my friends, but I won't mention their names. So this is the amount of Bitcoin that was earned. Um, let's say I earned a fraction of a Bitcoin here. That day was worth 1,500, 2,500, 3,400. So I'm doing the tally day by day. Okay. And I'm going to Google. All right. And you can type in historical price of Bitcoin. And you can use the Wikipedia article or Yahoo Finance and do the math, I suppose. All right. So airdrops or stack, I'm considering that to be a percentage that is steadily earned. I could be wrong about this. Here's a little airdrop. So, and then this is a list of expenses as per Form T2125. And basically, I'm adding them in the day that they were incurred, or if it's per month, uh, I've broken them down by month. And I have the total here so I can consult it on any given moment. Right? Then I do February, and then I have a year-end total, which just links the previous two cells to a summary. And the other thing that I've done is that you can do is provide a list of the classes of assets that will last more, their value will last more than 1 year. You list them here and you note the date that it was acquired, the class number, you do your research, the description of the cost to ready the asset to put it to use, and the total cost. Um, and this information, once you put in a UFile, will carry it forward year after year, so you can't lose it. But it's always good to have a backup copy. Now, once you've completed the year-end total, you can go to UFile, and I believe I have an online account here open already. Okay, I was logged out, so I'm just going to pause the video for a second. And here, just like magic, I am in UFile. I'll click on Go, and I'm going to run launch and start now. And I'm going to start a hypothetical example. Now notice I have my year-end totals here. Oh, one other thing that I forgot to mention. If your income is over 30K, you have to register for the GST, HST, or QST remittances, where you have to remit tax on the income that you've earned. Again, here, I haven't found any um, any guidance from the CRA and MRQ. Suffice it to say that what the CRA did speak about is when you use Bitcoin to transact, it's a barter transaction, and you have to pay tax on the transaction. But insofar as you're mining coins and you're performing a service for a arcane entity that is global and anonymous, I don't know how the government would expect you to charge GST QST on such an activity. So again, um, I would consult a person that is more knowledgeable than I am, or the government themselves. But in terms of declaring your income and doing a tax return, you should do it. So in this case, I'm going to start a little hypothetical return. So I'm going to start with Miss Susan James. So the first thing is enter your information, hypothetical social insurance number, hypothetical year of birth, net file access code. Guys, for this year, you have to uh, yeah, put your ducks in order and sign up for the e-services of each government jurisdiction you're in. If you're in the rest of Canada, it's federal only, and if you're in Quebec, it's federal in Quebec. For this example, I won't put a net access code, but you should have one. I am going to dedicate this example to the province of British Columbia for today, and the person is single. No marital status change. Gender is only for Quebec, so you don't have to answer that question. Let's put an address, 1234 Burnaby Road. And the city is Victoria, and province of British Columbia. V1T34. Okay. Information about your residence, you can leave that out. And I'm going to use another fictitious phone number. Sorry if I didn't get the Burnaby area code correct, but it will suffice. And now we go with the CRA questions. We'll put English for the sake of this example. Are you filing an income tax return for the first time? No. Now here's an interesting question. What if you hold some Bitcoin in Bahamas? What do you do? And that Bitcoin costed you over $100,000. You have to file T Form 1135, and that's a separate filing from your return. So you'll have to send your return and then go back to Section 5 and net file the T1135. Oh, say yes. We're going to be above board and declare everything. So here, uh, you did not dispose a principal residence, and you're not a diplomat. Where were you living? Okay, did you reside within this guy's lands on December 31st, 2021? Not residing. Yes, I am a Canadian citizen, and yes, I would like to vote. You have to do your civic duty, and for now, we won't accept the terms and conditions for the CRA email notification. There's no way I can demonstrate e-services to you without disclosing personal information, so I can't do that. Okay, now, right off the bat, we're going to go to interview, and we're going to pull up a self-employed business statement and start by uh, grabbing a T2125 business and select the address, enter the address. We've rented a place outside of our home, a warehouse where we can set up our equipment and do our business activity. So enter the street, 78 9 Kingsway, maybe, and that's in Vancouver, BC. Postal code would be V8R8T3, 3T3. Okay, business name, uh, Big Gig, uh, Bitcoin mining. Yep, and we have a calendar year for a business year, or fiscal year, as you may like to call it, 31st 12 2021. Oops. And here's where you put the North American Industrial Classification System code, and you want to find something. We said somewhere, one sec. So we're going to use 51.8. So here, no, we're not going to use that. We're going to use the other one. So mining. So that was 212398 there. And Bitcoin mining is our main product or services, 100%. Got to keep it simple, guys. So proprietorship, you should have a federal account number. Ultimately, you should also register for the GST. I won't put one in now because, well, even if I do, it will be the sample, that 15 characters that you see there, so it won't make a difference. Let's say you're 100% yours and you don't have any internet web pages for this business. It's solely, you know, um, a warehouse type of environment where the only people you're dealing with, apart from maybe a couple of employees, is the big worldwide net. So income. So this is kind of easy, all right? Uh, Income, gross sales. You can even copy it from your spreadsheet. Let's try it and put it there. There it is, see? Um, then other income. Here, you can put stacking, airdrop. Uh, and that would be 1,320. GST and QST, if you're collecting GST and QST on your transactions. Um, I don't have an opening and closing inventory because basically I am earning the income um, as I am rewarded for my mining activity. So it's a constant flow, and I'm using the accrual method of accounting. So as that Bitcoin is earned, I am converting it to its value in Canadian currency and straight up reporting it as income. Am I right? Am I wrong? Again, let's go back to the fact that I'm not an accountant. You could ask the CRA for more guidance, or a CPA that is well or better versed in this activity than I am. So let's go on and just transpose uh, our expenses. 1,150 of advertising, 425 in meals because I wanted to do some uh, business development activity with a couple of partners or potential partners. Bad debts, a little IOU, insurance, 4,500, and that's pretty low. Bank charges, 913. Business taxes and licenses, perhaps to the municipality where you live. Office expenses, 449, and 2675 for professional fees. Let's say you're an engineer and you're using your profession to set up your gear and your mining rig, so it could be related to your business activity. Management and admin, let's say you paid someone some fees to take a look at your whole setup and give you some advice, managerial advice. Rent, that should be expensive as heck. So 104,400, it's probably cheap. Uh, Maintenance and repairs, 1,250, and wages, salaries and wages. There it is, 50,400. You have a person that helps you out. Well, it's not easy. Uh, Property taxes, 28,800, and that's probably cheap. Did I put travel? Yeah, sure. You went to a couple of Bitcoin conventions. Um, Telephone, 1510. Utilities, that should be an arm and a leg, so let's put $84,000. Fuel costs, you have a power generator that you use once in a while, 850, that too. And 1250, 1925. 1925 for your delivery and freight. You order some computer equipment, commission none, convention and training. Let's put the other expenses as convention and training expenses, 752. Okay, let's say we did not have a motor vehicle expense in this case. We did not have an office in the home. We kept work at work and play at play. We didn't have any partners. You don't really need to do your balance sheet. And let's put the CCA classes. And we talked about class 45 and 50, I believe. Let's take a look at our little OneNote here. Yeah, 45 and 50. So how do you do that? Okay, here's class 45. Okay. Uh, this is all fictitious, but let's put in two classes for demonstrating to you how to do it. So here would be class 45. I believe that is computer equipment. You may describe it differently. Opening balance of undepreciated capital cost. Let's say I had acquired the asset some time ago, and and um, and you depreciate it over time using the percentage. I'll show you the undepreciated capital cost when it pops up here. So let's say you still have about $67,800 worth of the asset to depreciate left. Okay, if it was a newly purchased property, you would put it here, and then you would uh, put it as description and amount of capital additions other than AIP, and you would subject the purchase to the half-year rule. Let's say in this case we bought it in 2006. Okay, there you go. You did not dispose of the asset. It's not subject to the half-year rule because it's not a new asset. There you go. Click on next. Go back to CCA and add class 50, which is your software. And so software, Bitcoin mining software, opening balance. In this case, it was $27,900. I just got those figures off the top of my head. Um, Ultimately, if you're doing your due diligence correctly, you're recording somewhere the acquisition of your assets. You're consulting the list of classes that the CRA has available to see in which class it belongs. And you would, in the year that you acquire them, again, I'm just repeating myself, but put the date of acquisition, put it here, do your research to see your if your asset is subject to the half-year rule in the year of acquisition. Most assets are, and put yes in that case over there. Okay. All right. And if you have an existing asset, you would put the opening balance here. Uh, or if you, when you carry forward your file, it will already be there. Okay. And then put the acquisition here. Let's give this person some medical expenses. 31st of 12th, 2021, had a dental procedure, a root canal worth $2,500. The RSP deduction limit, if you're new, you got to put it down here. If you're an existing client, once you've done this, UFile will carry it forward and adjust it accordingly depending on the earned income that you've done. Uh, let's say you actually contributed to your RSP, a Royal Bank, $7,500. Let's go to next. And right off the bat, UFile is warning us, you did not enter information regarding the foreign property. Remember the Bitcoin that we have in Bahamas? In the Bahamas. We got to record that and file a T1135 separately from the tax return. So where do we put that? Let's see if we click on, oh, it doesn't take me anywhere. Let's go to review. Please fix the errors. And then there's a second reminder that we have to fill out the T1135. Let's go there. Click on that arrow there. And here's my T1135. I click the add sign to add it. Select the reporting method. I'm going to pick the detailed method. Is this complete? Yes, completed T1135. It's not an amended. And I'm going to click on the simplified method. Yeah, that's what I'm going to. I am self-employed. And how much was the total cost of the specified property? I'd said $125,000 Canadian. Select the category of the specified property. Other property outside Canada. It is not funds. It is not shares. And I saw on the UFile forum a Bitcoin exchange or Bitcoin wallet company. I think it was an exchange saying that the disposition of Bitcoin should be reported on Part 3 of Schedule 3, where shares are reported. That's completely incorrect. There is a section on Schedule 3 where you report capital gains on Bitcoins unique to virtual currency. I believe I did that in the previous video. So other property outside Canada, a description of Bitcoin, description of property, country code, let's look for Bahamas. I'd like to have a vacation in Bahamas. There you go. Maximum cost was $125,000. Cost and amount at year end. Let's say it remained steady, which probably didn't, but anywho. 110. Income, 0. And gain or loss, didn't sell anything, 0. Next. And now that warning goes away. We get a little green light. And when we go to review, um, let's maximize this window so you can see what's going on. There you go. We actually have a $75 refund. Interesting. Messages. Click here to review your data. Okay. Are you sure you want to file a return? Yes, I am. We can review our data. We have a summary up there. You are filing Form T1135 for income verification statement. This form must be mailed or electronically submitted to the CRA. Refer to the assembly instructions in your tax return for additional details. It must be filed separately. Register for the GST. Your gross business income is greater than $30,000 and there is no GST tax registration number. And the question arises again, you register for the GST, to whom are you going to charge the GST? That's the biggest problem there is. There's no clear-cut answer that I was able to find. All right, now, UFile determined that you do not need your RSP contribution. Interesting. There's another optimization done by UFile. So let's look at the summary and see how it bodes. Oh, that's the summary. And the federal summary right there. So we have, oh, look at this loss. A word of the wise with respect to business losses. A long time ago, if you consistently reported business losses, there was a test called reasonable expectation of profit. Due to several court challenges, that test is no longer valid because the judge determined that the CRA was second guessing on your intent to make a profit. It was as if you should be able to foretell if your business venture should produce a profit or not. And not everybody is a Nostradamus. So a more reasonable judge came up with another uh, rule of thumb. And the rule of thumb in this case is this venture a hobby, personal? I build model airplanes. To me, sure, they're worth, let's say, $1,000, but am I going to get $1,000? And is this something that I want to do day in, day out and sell them at any cost, determined by what the client wants to pay for them? and continue doing that and giving up my precious uh, asset. Um, so one thing is hobby, you're doing it for personal satisfaction and personal gain. And for business, you're producing, these bottles and you sell them. You don't want to collect any of them. And you're constantly trying to make an income. I hope I made that clear. If not, there's plenty of research on the internet. You got to do some reading on it. It's a very interesting topic. So here I got an incredible loss. I can carry it back 3 years. I can carry it forward. And here are my basic credits, my medical expenses. Typically, you can carry forward these expenses. You don't need them with that type of loss. Um, you know, you can enter them in the year. You can virtually take them out and claim them in the year that not well. You have 12 month period to claim them. So ending in the taxation year. So you can take that out. It wasn't a necessary credit. Tax saving ideas. Let's see if this tax return is for free. Almost done. All right, accept. You do qualify for a free return. Oh, how about that? Well, that's one of the free offers in UFile. If your income is below 20,000, if your family income is below 20,000, you get a free return. That's interesting. And here's my beautiful loss in parentheses. That's the executive summary. This is your tax return summary. I'm curious to know where I'm getting the $75 from. And here's the identification page, the barcode, which is pretty useless because mostly everybody net files the return. There's a provincial territorial credit of $75. Here's my gross business income. That's my net. Blame it on hydro and expensive rents. Scrolling down. Notice it did not take, I don't believe it took the RSP deduction and carried it forward. So let's go to Schedule 7. That's an interesting schedule. Now, if I forgot to mention something, please comment below and I'll reply. Calculating your CPP contributions. Well, you're poor. You don't have any. And I think the credit in question is here. So that's your basic BC sales tax credit of $75. You got it. Um, Interesting point to make is if you've uh, had a net income, business income of $3,001, you would also qualify for the Canada Workers Benefit, which is a pretty interesting uh, uh, benefit, refundable credit. T1135, we've done the simple statement. Here's where we're declaring our Bitcoin. On the Quebec side, there is a straightforward question whether you're in Bitcoin mining or not. They plain out ask you, do you have Bitcoin? And you have to answer. My question is, if you have an ETF that invests in Bitcoin, does that make you a Bitcoin owner? I doubt it, but you never know. That's your T1135. Let's look at the income statement. Yeah, the T2125. So this is where you identify your name, your business address, your gross income, your other income, and your expenses. See, I was forgetting something. The most important thing of all, you got to review your return before you send it. And let's go to my depreciation. So here's my depreciation, which was started at 67,800, and I claimed 45% of that. And for next year, I'm left with 37,290. So when you carry forward your file for next year, you'll start automatically, UFile will start you off with this. And here's my class 50, my software, 27,900, claimed 55% of that, 15,345. What I'm left over with, which is, this is class 6 minus column 6 minus column 12. So 27,900 minus 15,345 is 12,555. And then you have a couple of checklists here. The GST tax calculation, well, you're getting GST. And you're also getting the BC Climate Action Tax, which is paid quarterly. Did we claim? Nope, we didn't claim the Canada Training Tax credit limit. All right. And CCA carry forwards. You have a list of that. And you can combine that with this data with your spreadsheet, where you keep data records on the side. Other carry forwards. Undeducted premiums from your RSP. Right. So if you notice that you don't need your medical expenses, take them out of data entry, keep them until the following year. You may be able to deduct it should it's not a deduction, it's a credit, should your income uh, exceed a certain number. So that's pretty much it. Well, you can net file, click on the net file. It's not pretty much it. That would be the last step. Obviously, I am not going to file it because this is a live return. Okay, so you would click on federal, ready for filing, click on that. You'll get an acceptance or a rejection, and then you also have to click ready for filing T1135. So there's two clicks, one, two, not one. And it's very important that you file this because you don't file it and they figure out that you had something to declare. That penalty uh, can be as high as $2,500 plus compounded interest. So you don't want to forget about that. Okay. So once again, thanks to all the new and existing subscribers, guys. You greatly encourage me by viewing this video. Please like and subscribe and share this video. I'd like to see this video reach 1,000 views or more. And I hope it was enlightening to everybody. And that's it for now. If you have any questions, comment below. Take care, guys. Ciao.